Look like Myles Garrett definitely is feeling the type of way about the Browns. Another workout session, he was not in the building, but he made his way to a concert. But I'm telling you right now, people was in Cleveland saying that it looked like to me and to them that Myles Garrett could be boycotting his team over the Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders battle.
Can stay with the Cleveland Browns. How do you say? Respond to that.
I said I don't care about the money. I just want to win the championship. The higher ups, and I have a lot of respect for them, but I just don't think we're aligned on where the team is going in the near future.
The most dangerous thing Myles Garrett ever did to the Cleveland Browns wasn't a sack. It wasn't a trade request. It wasn't even a statement. It was showing up to a Cavs game while Shedeur Sanders was alone in the film room and saying absolutely nothing. Because when the best defensive player on the planet goes quiet, that's when you should be most afraid. One image, no caption, no hashtag, no explanation. Just Myles Garrett, the greatest defensive player on the planet, posting a photo of an exhausted, dead-eyed Popeyes worker on his Instagram story and watching the entire NFL world catch fire.
Super Bowl for Cleveland, right? Because that was kind of his messaging, is that he wanted to win. He didn't want to just go to the Hall of Fame. He wanted to win a Super Bowl. Then they paid him $40 million a year, and he said, all right, they told me we could win here. We could win here. So then he is coming out and saying basically he was lied to. Like, hey, you were told we were going to be able to win. That's why I took the deal for $40 million, reset the entire market. I come back. Here we are again. They stink. They're not good. They fire their coach. He is obviously campaigning pretty good for Schwartz. He's obviously the best player in Cleveland and has been for a very long time. So I think he's warranted to potentially be a little bit upset. But I think a lot of people are saying, hey, when you took the check to stay in Cleveland, you signed up for all the shit that Cleveland's going to bring. And this is something that the Cleveland's going to bring.
This is a man who broke the NFL's all-time single-season sack record. This is the 2023 and 2025 Defensive Player of the Year. This is someone who has never publicly complained, never thrown teammates under the bus, never aired grievances on social media. He let his play do the talking every single year in a city that kept handing him a broken offense and telling him to just make it work. So when Myles Garrett posts anything, you listen, and Cleveland listened. The Browns front office saw it. Andrew Barry saw it. The fan base, already shell-shocked from another wasted season, saw it. And within days, the whispers became screams. Is Myles Garrett actually going to request a trade?
Shedeur Sanders, as a veteran, what's impressed you the most on how he's approached the game?
The time he takes, showing up early. Coach's office is easily seen when you walk in the building, and almost every morning you see him in there, talking through plays, talking through schemes with coach, and making sure that he's ready for his moment when he gets called up. And I appreciate that level of maturity and attention to detail.
While Garrett was watching a franchise spiral in real time, Shedeur Sanders, the rookie fifth-round pick who nobody gave a chance, was quietly becoming the most prepared player in that building, showing up before coaches, studying film before the sun came up, competing every single day with the kind of hunger you can't teach. Garrett saw it. He respected it. He even said publicly that Shedeur was the guy.
Do y'all have the guy? Is Shedeur the guy?
That's what we're looking at as a guy. We're going to give him a shot to prove that he's a guy. So we're not going to give anyone that title until they go out there and earn it. And he was the last person to be on the field, and he showed some flashes.
And then he watched the organization he'd bled for, the organization that sold him on a $40 million per year promise of "we can win here," start feeding Deshaun Watson first-team reps like 2022 never happened. And in the middle of all that noise, Myles Garrett walked into the studio for the Rich Eisen show, looking like a man who had already made up his mind.
Myles Garrett.
Just felt it was time. I had taken my time after the season, kind of, relax and decompress emotionally. Want to distance myself a little bit and spend a little time talking to my family about, really how we feel about this decision. I kind of felt this way. I wanted to make sure I was completely detached, and they felt the same way I did. And I feel like everyone's kind of on the same page. And I felt like it was time to at least speak on something that was near to my heart. And I have a lot of love for Cleveland, but it's always for me been about continuing for championships, winning those big games, and winning Lombardis. And we haven't had the opportunity to do that, and that's all I'm asking for.
Yeah.
This was the loudest thing that had ever happened off the field. He didn't rant, he didn't go scorched earth. He was measured, respectful, and absolutely devastating in his clarity. It's always been about winning championships, winning those big games. We haven't had the opportunity to do that. And that's all I'm asking for. He requested a trade. 8 years, 1 overall pick, the sack record, a jersey already hanging in Canton while he's still active. And it came down to this, a man standing at a podium of his own conscience and saying, "I gave you everything. I need something back." The Browns responded the way the Browns always respond. Andrew Berry stood at a podium at the NFL Combine and recited Garrett's stats like he was reading a Wikipedia article. On the surface, his message at the Combine was simple. We're not trading Myles Garrett, period. We can't imagine a situation where not having Myles as a part of the organization is best for the Browns.
Like standard practice, I don't comment on player contracts. I guess probably the easiest thing to say is if we wanted to trade Myles, we wouldn't have needed to make a contract adjustment, so it doesn't have anything to do with that. Myles is a career Brown. He is one of the faces of our organization. I think we've been very clear, both past and present, in terms of our feelings on that. So I understand all the questions. I'll be honest, I don't really want to waste a ton more breath on the topic. Yeah.
Sure. Let's talk about what Andrew Berry actually did, because it tells you everything about where this franchise really stands. On the surface, his message at the Combine was simple. We're not trading Myles Garrett, period. We can't imagine a situation where not having Myles as a part of the organization is best for the Browns, Berry said. We're not interested in moving him. Strong words, confident stance. Problem is, 3 weeks later, the Browns quietly restructured Garrett's contract. They moved the option exercise date. They rearranged the bonus structure. And if you know anything about NFL cap mechanics, you know what that means. They extended the window to trade him without incurring catastrophic dead cap money. Think about that. The same GM who publicly said we're not moving him was simultaneously making it structurally possible to move him. If you are going to keep Garrett, you don't need to do that. What happens to the locker room if Garrett reports and is visibly unhappy? What happens to Shedeur Sanders' development if the best player on defense is emotionally checked out? What happens to Todd Monken's first training camp as a head coach if there's a franchise player-shaped cloud hanging over every single practice? And here's the detail nobody is fully connecting yet. Denzel Ward, Cleveland's top cornerback, has also made noise about wanting out. If both Garrett and Ward are disgruntled heading into a mandatory minicamp, the Browns don't just have a trade request situation. They have a locker room fracture. They have a defense that could crumble from the inside before September. Now flip it. What if the Browns actually listen? What if, between now and June, Andrew Berry and Jimmy Haslam sit down with Garrett face to face, actually align on the quarterback plan, actually commit to making Shedeur the unquestioned starter, actually show the coaching staff the respect of letting Monken run his own football team without ownership interference? What if they give Garrett the thing he's actually asking for? Not a trade, but a real shot at winning. Because here's the truth buried under all the noise. Garrett said he was open to staying. He said he was willing to look at the trajectory. He never said the door was permanently closed on Cleveland. He said they weren't aligned, which means alignment is still possible. The June mandatory minicamp is the deadline, not just for Garrett's trade request, but for Cleveland's credibility as a franchise, for Shedeur Sanders' shot at being the starter he was always meant to be, and for Todd Monken's ability to actually build something real. The only question left is Cleveland finally ready to hear it? If you want to know what happens when that mandatory minicamp hits, subscribe right now.